This episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Shopify. Today on TRS, we get a chance to see Locke Key and Wonder Woman, 2 TV pilots that didn't make it.
We are back for TV, and we're super excited. We got our hands on a couple of pilots that we were very excited to see that didn't actually get picked up.
Yeah.
And it's a really good...
We're calling this Not Seen on TV.
Well, Dan is calling it Not Seen on TV. But it's a really great window into, you know, a lot of these times you hear about these news of these great shows, and you're super excited about it, and they get a pilot made, and you're like, this is going to be awesome, and then they never get picked up. And you never understand why. So this is sort of a great way for us to kind of look into these pilots and see if we can figure out why they weren't picked
And these
up.
are 2 properties that we have a lot of interest in already.
Yes, so the first property is the TV show Locke & Key, which is based on the Joe Hill graphic novel that we all loved when we reviewed on the show.
Hopefully you saw that episode.
Yeah, and Joe Hill, of course, is Stephen King's son, so a lot of good horror roots there. The television show pilot was scripted by Kurtzman and Orsi and Josh Friedman. Kurtzman and Orsi, of course, written some of the big blockbusters that we've seen, Transformers, Star Trek, as well as a bunch of others. And Josh Friedman created the Sarah Connor Chronicles, which is funny because Nick Stahl is in the pilot of Locke & Key from Terminator 3.
Right, Terminator 3.
Yeah, but Sarah Connor Chronicles based on Terminator, Nick Stahl, Terminator 3, and of course Jesse McCartney, who I guess is a huge pop star. I didn't even know this, so that's how big a pop star he is to the kids.
It's because you're old.
I used to know what poison was. Anyway, so Locke & Key follows the story of the Locke family, who, after a tragic event, has to move into this old house that was in their family for many, many years called the Key House. It then starts to get into some fairly large sci-fi elements where there are many keys locked into this house, and they open doors that allow people to do things. There's the ghost door where you unlock a door and walk through it, you die and then become a ghost and can move around, then can go back through that door and revive yourself. And craziness ensues. So Jeffrey,
yes, sir.
Big fan of Locke & Key, the graphic novel.
Love it.
What did you think of the translation from the graphic novel into a potential television series?
Very faithful. However, you know, I should have gone back to look before we recorded this, but it seems to me that 1-hour pilot was the entire first trade.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Which is... Feels like they're blowing their load. I mean, obviously it's not picked up, so don't have to worry about that. But
they didn't.
I don't know how you do an entire season unless that season is 5 episodes. Because if the entire first trade, not just the first issue, you know, we saw Walking Dead come out as a comic book, from a comic book to a TV series, and pretty much those episodes were basically 1 issue, rather than an entire whole storyline, start to finish. And while I thought it was very cool to see that, because I love that story and see it come to life, I was surprised that it was that entire arc. Now, execution-wise, I'm surprised that it didn't embrace its horror-ness a little more. Yeah. But I did think it was solid on all levels, and I'm surprised it didn't get picked up. I enjoyed it. I thought it really delivered a lot of what made the book so special. I thought the effects were they embraced that.
We don't know what.
And some of those are going to be temp, not temp. Yeah.
No, I wasn't complaining about them. I'm saying the approach to showing those supernatural elements would have been interesting to see the next one, where you have to like open someone's head if they would have actually done that. But yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was really good.
You're surprised it didn't get picked up?
I'm surprised.
Okay. Daniel, what about you? What's your vibe?
Potentially one of my favorite things was this pilot. It's directed by Mark Romanek, who is one of my favorite directors. Yeah. He did that movie that was, you know, shamefully not around too much in the Academy Awards, but Never Let Me Go. I felt like it was nominated for something.
Never Let Me Go.
With Andrew Garfield and Keira
Knightley. Yeah.
But he's, you know, commercial music video director. Book, one of the greats, and he doesn't make enough. He was supposed to do Werewolf. The werewolf movie that Joe Johnston ended up doing.
Yeah, Werewolf. Wolfman.
Wolfman, yes.
I was like, no, it's called Werewolf.
Yeah, I know,
go.
I'm like werewolf, right?
No, Wolfman.
So it was, I feel like we got our next great Mark Romanek movie here. It very much feels like a truncated movie. I wish it was
it does feel like
a movie. It is a phenomenal hour of content. The tragic event that is in the comic and is in this show is similar to tragic events we've seen in movies of the past couple of years. I was even thinking of Shutter Island, and I was far more shaken by the way it's portrayed in this movie. I had chills, and I was like very disturbed. But the show manages to have both a really dark tone with incredible cinematography and filmmaking, as well as a really light, whimsical, magical tone. Which is why I think I completely understand. I don't condone, because I thought it was wonderful.
Yes.
But I understand it not getting picked up.
Yeah.
Because it's not totally darkened for adults, and it certainly isn't light and fluffy for kids.
Yeah.
Yet the magical elements are played magically.
Yeah, it's a little Guillermo del Toro in the way
There
that
is
it's
a
not
Guillermo del
quite
Toro
dark,
vibe
but
to
it's
it,
not
but
quite.
yeah.
So I was kind of disappointed with this. I didn't really enjoy it per se. You know, I maybe it was. I think my big problem with this, and the reason why I think it didn't get picked up for me, or the reason why I was sort of like, yeah, I see why this didn't get picked up, is because it's too much fantastical things too early in a series for me. You know, one of the things that like Lost pulled you in because
Slowly,
Lost was about, oh my God, I can't believe these people, it's so crazy and this explosion's going on, and I'm sorry, was that a weird smoke thing?
Right,
and that's the first episode.
Right.
With this, it's like within the first 5 minutes, it's, oh, the boy is a ghost. And it's like, okay. And then it's like, whoop, now there's some creepy girl in the well. It's like, okay. And it just keeps adding those things, which throughout the first trade was sort of okay because it kind of does that thing. And with comic books, you kind of expect that. But with TV, there wasn't enough to ground me in the reality for me to then be shaken by these amazing and inventive science fiction ideas. And so I kind of felt like, oh, this is it's just so much magic stuff happening, magic, that it was like, I want it to feel realistic, and then, oh my God, this little magic thing, that blows my mind. You know what I mean?
I think one thing we can all say is go read those comics. It's a
yeah.
good opportunity for us to reiterate that.
And I am happy that this was made into a pilot, and I hope that this doesn't preclude it from possibly being made into a movie because I think the quality of the work is there. I thought the acting was all fairly good across the board. I mean,
I was blown away.
Jesse McCartney, the scene where he stands up and everybody's staring at him because he's had this freak out, and he stands up and he just starts introducing himself to people in the high school. I mean, there were some great moments in this
I think
pilot.
it teaches us once again to never judge books by covers, because I think that kid was awesome.
Yeah, and I had no idea that he was a pop star, so for me,
I
it
want to
makes
mention too,
sense.
Sarah Bolger. She's always been one of my favorite. I wanted her to be Katniss. She was the girl from In America, and she was in another book to fantasy movie, not Lemony Snicket's, but something else. Mark Waters directed it, I forget the name. Okay. Awesome. I think she's awesome, the sister.
So great cast all around. The other pilot that we got to take a look at that didn't get picked up, but everybody was super excited about it, is David E. Kelley's take on Wonder Woman. Everybody was super jazzed about this. There was a lot of issues when sort of set pictures of Adrienne Palicki, who plays Wonder Woman, her costume, there was this whole big issue with her costume, and they went back and actually digitally changed the way her costume looks in certain scenes. So Wonder Woman, surprisingly enough, starts out the pilot episode as, oh yeah, by the way, we all know who Wonder Woman is, we all know that she's here, we all know why she's here, so we're just gonna show you episode 1 of Wonder Woman doing stuff. Which was a very interesting choice. Also starring Carrie Elwes as her sort of nebbishy, like CEO friend in a weird way.
Well, explain more, because so she's a CEO.
So the whole thing is it catches up in the middle where Wonder Woman is Wonder Woman as a crime fighter in the world. Her secret identity isn't secret. They all know her as this entrepreneur who runs this multi-million-dollar corporation, or
like multi-billion-dollar.
Well, but she's got three identities.
So, but then she has now made a actual secret identity so that she can attempt to have a normal life, living by herself with a cat in an apartment.
You can definitely see how it's David E. Kelley's take on this, because he sort of has to filter it through that professional woman in the working world And it's very like corporate America. She has these meetings where she's talking about image and PR and very, very different take on Wonder Woman, to say the least.
Very different. The lasso's there, not a lasso of truth, just sort of a lasso of whipping people.
And she's got the
bracelets. She has a plane, not invisible. Daniel Trachtenberg, what did you think?
Yeah, I forgot that it was a David E. Kelley show until the end, and I was confounded watching this whole thing. I was like, what is the deal? Why would they make these decisions? And then I saw David E. Kelley's and I said, oh, I see. It's not made, it's like made for the Ally McBeal audience, just as a superhero, to be Ally McBeal, as opposed to like a superhero show. It's not Heroes or anything like that. I will say, some of the filmmaking is actually pretty good, and I think the action sequences are kind of awesome. I mean, we saw things in where it's temporary, but like, there's some really awesome fight choreography.
She straight up kills a dude.
There's better fight choreography in this show than in some episodes of Heroes or I mean, there's really awesome fight choreography. I get like almost a take of like why you make a cool Wonder Woman show. Like, this is how you could have done it in the action scenes. Her costume is bizarre.
The bracelet blocking the bullets was. I was like, that was epic. I could see that in a movie and be happy.
It's like
the costume.
The costume is bizarre. There's definitely a way to make that cool.
Well,
they didn't have to be beholden
she then made a comment about why are you making the action figures with such big boobs? And I'm like, I'm sorry, lady. Do you see what you run around in?
But that's the whole thing.
I know.
And I love Adrienne Palicki. I think she's an awesome actress. She was miscast in this, or
I don't think
she was miswritten. Or
I thought she was great as Wonder Woman, actually.
Really? I thought
she could totally work.
What did you think of the series as a whole?
I thought it was
the show as a whole.
A dismal failure, and I'm glad I can totally see why it is not picked up, and I'm glad it's not. It's wrong-headed in almost every respect. But I thought where it got it right, like you said, were the action sequences and was the casting of her as Wonder Woman. I thought she could play that part in a film. I thought she was great. She's got the stature, she's got the size, she's got this sort of Amazonian thing, and I thought she was lovely in all those different facets of the character. It is so bizarre to me, this take, and like you said, there's a scene very close to the beginning of the show where she's in this room signing off on all of her action figures, and she has this speech, this moment where she does have some sort of women's rights moment of talking about, she says, I didn't sell my tits, which is way crass for Wonder Woman to say, first of all. Second of all, then later on, like literally 5 minutes later in the show, she says, this costume opens doors for me. I bet it's gonna open this one, right? It's like, you can't have it both ways, lady. You know, but you know, I guess that's sort of a commentary on modern feminism. I don't know. It doesn't work. It doesn't work to have this character be so self-conscious and to be. I understand the like prism of corporate America and the prism of PR and public identity and all those things. It just seems completely stupid for this. And there's an animated version of the Wonder Woman character that works so well.
Yeah,
Why do
I think
this?
the problem with this is clearly that there is an amazing TV show for us and our generation now that is Wonder Woman that could have been and that we are not going to see now.
It was Buffy.
It may have very well have been if Buffy was done, but as that character was Wonder Woman, it would be mind-blowing. And I totally agree with you. I think this the Adrienne Palicki or whatever it is was totally miscast. She was. I did not like buy her for a second, and she's a very good actress. So it's definitely not whether she was miscast or just miswritten.
I think she could have done a take on Wonder Woman where she was not strong at first and had to earn that strength. I found every time she had to be commanding, the words were eating her up, and she couldn't own them.
So the other thing is, I really think that they lost an opportunity to give us a fun origin story. Maybe that would have made all of this make sense. Because just jumping into the middle and being like, oh, what? Because there's so much different that they're doing with the Wonder Woman. There are things that you just go, I don't even know, like they just sort of say, oh yeah, by the way, she's an Amazonian. But it's like, well, what does that mean in this world?
Well, I think that would be something that the series would mine.
Maybe, but there wasn't enough here. And I thought Cary Elwes, I don't know what he was trying to do with that character, but
at first I loved it. At first I loved it, and then one scene later,
if he had just done his British accent and been a sort of swarthy, cool CEO that's trying to just keep her real, I would have been in like Flynn. The action sequences were where I think they got this right. And the other thing is, they really just didn't understand who Wonder Woman was, because there are times when she literally kills a guy, flat out murders a guy who is already totally incapacitated with a metal pipe. And I was watching this with Heather, and I literally go, she just murdered that guy?
Yeah.
That is not, she had not set up the fact that that was who this woman was, that she didn't care about humans, she just killed humans, I don't give a crap. And there were some fun little adventure moments, but man, it really did fall apart. It was a big disappointment. So I think we can all kind of see sort of why these two pilots didn't get picked up.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think Locke and Key was more successful in executing on the material than Wonder Woman.
According to Joe Hill's Twitter, they're trying to have a showing of the Locke and Key pilot at Comic-Con. So if you're
That'd
going
be
to
cool.
Comic-Con, as long as it doesn't conflict with our panel,
Hey-o.
it might be something to
You will be blown away.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's it for TV. Thanks for watching. Swap. All right, everybody, be sure to stick around for this day in rad history. But first, we want to thank our sponsors, Daniel Trachtenberg.
Shopify is the most elegant, customizable, and affordable hosted e-commerce platform available.
Ooh,
With Shopify, you can set up a gorgeous online store in minutes.
I love gorgeous online
and sell
stores.
just about anything. Look professional, accept credit cards or other payment gateways, and track and respond to all your orders.
Nice.
Shopify is e-commerce made easy.
Ooh.
Easy-E.
Do they have like a tagline?
A shop in minutes, a business for life.
Oh, amazing. It's such a great tagline.
Join
Tip of
over
his tongue.
14,000 Shopify users and discover the most effective, simple way to start an online store. Use coupon code TRS to get your first 60 days free.
2 months of free shopping on your site. That's pretty intense.
If you guys were going to make an online store, what would you sell?
I would sell shirts.
I like this one.
I just love it. It took you so long and you're like, shirts.
What would you sell?
I would sell children's tears.
And I'd sell happiness.
There you
it's
go.
It's a
One-stop shop.
Yeah,
I would be selling really horrible T-shirts, offensive
that would make
T-shirts,
children cry. I
and then
would
you would cheer them up.
Get their tears and then you would cheer them up with your happiness.
Represent any brand that you choose exactly the way you want to, and have your store open to the world 24 hours, 7 days a week with Shopify.
Amazing. Be sure to check us out at Comic-Con if you're going to be there. Friday night, the 22nd. I keep saying the 22nd, and I'm going to stick with it.
It's Friday night of Comic-Con, and it's at 8 o'clock in room 780.
Gonna be doing it a little bit differently this year, and we're gonna have a lot of fun doing it.
Super fun. See ya.
Tomorrow.
Don't miss tomorrow for our review of the board game The Resistance.
Today is July 5th, and on this day in rad history, in 1996, Dolly, the cloned sheep, is born. Or happened.
Well, no, she was born.
Yeah.
It was born,
But
It was cloned.
created.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, that was a big. Do you remember that was a big?
It was a
freaking
big deal. Still a big deal, you know. I, for one, welcome our new sheep overlords.
Thank you at Roy Turf for sending it in.